Welcome back. I'm Michael Bull, and you're listening to the Commercial Real Estate Show. Today we're talking about healthcare and healthcare real estate. Please welcome my next guest. It's Paul Zeman. Paul is president of Healthcare Real Estate Services with Bull Realty, and he focuses on selling medical office buildings around the U.S. Paul, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, always glad to be here.
Well, we appreciate it, Paul. And first of all, how are medical office buildings overall around the U.S. Performing vacancy-wise and rates?
You know, Michael, in terms of vacancy and rental rates, two of the attributing factors to performance, vacancy is up a little bit, almost 12%, 11.9%. And I attribute a slight uptick from what we saw maybe earlier this year to just some new MOB product being delivered to the market. The tenants aren't shutting their businesses and going anywhere. We're just seeing more product. In terms of average rental rates from Class A properties all the way to C across the nation, $22.50 per square foot.
Average,
yeah.
But tell us about some sample rates, though, in some buildings that you're selling.
You know, it's interesting. I'm working on a project in a very affluent suburb on the north side of Chicago right now that $30 rates are not at all out of the question, and because it is a CBD, the taxes are relatively high, so as much as $15 and $16 in CAM. So at the end of the day, to a tenant, $45 is not out of the question.
And they're glad to be there, right?
They love being there. There's a reason that they want to be there. It's a supply and demand thing.
Yeah, it works for them. And let's talk about the investment market. It's really been hot in the medical office building world, hasn't it?
It sure has. You know, the two big attributing factors there, obviously, that we look at are dollar volume and cap rate. So let's talk about dollar volume first. Last year at this time, and I'll mention last year was a record year in MOB investment sales. We were just a little over $5 billion. And as of today, we're a little over $7 billion. So we're tracking $2 billion ahead of where we were last year at this time. Okay. In terms of cap rates, the second quarter finished right at 7%. We typically see some resistance there in the low sevens. The trailing 12 months also exactly 7%. But the third quarter has heated up. So far in the third quarter, we've seen 57 transactions over $5 million, and the average of those 57 transactions 6.50, 6.5 cap, okay. Which is we're almost certainly going to see some of this cap rate compression through the end of the third quarter.
Right, and we always like to remind our listeners, most of our listeners are very aware of this, but in case you drive around in your car, you know, that's an average cap rate, right? So give us a sample of what you might see, say, on an on-campus, a hospital-sponsored type of property.
Yeah, well, an on-campus, hospital-sponsored asset that's maybe even attached to the hospital, seeing something in the low sixes is not at all out of the question. Then you get out into the suburbs and maybe have a little bit less hospital sponsorship and definitely off-campus, and it's not uncommon to see something 7 north of 7.
Okay, and so what do you expect through the rest of the year as far as volume and cap rates? You think cap rates will remain stable, maybe more compression?
I think we'll just see a little bit more compression. I think the million-dollar question is that what's going to happen with interest rates, and I think eventually that when we do get into an interest rate rising environment, it's going to have to bump the cap rates up. So I think that sellers are definitely making hay while the sun is shining right now.
Yeah, I can see a lot of activity between now and the end of the year. Well, Paul, thanks for joining us today.
Enjoyed being here.
And thanks for joining us on one of the 42 stations on iTunes or on YouTube. We appreciate you being with us. And be sure and join us next week. We're going to talk about commercial real estate technology. We're going to have a guest that's been very instrumental in bringing some great commercial real estate technology to the market. And they've also bundled it. So you get some amazing products at a pretty low price. We'll see what's going on in the commercial real estate technology market. So thanks for joining us. Until next week, be sure that you always lead, learn, and laugh, and join us for the Commercial Real Estate Show.
The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty, a great place to do business. RealNex, software for productivity. Xceligent, information for the professionals. And Commercial Search, properties for sale and lease. To access these companies or for additional videos, podcasts, and articles, visit CREshow.com.